Body measurements for 4-piece saree petticoat. An important part of the pre-sewing process is taking accurate measurements to ensure you get the correct fit on. In this session, we will see how to take the required body measurements for stitching a 4-piece saree petticoat. At the end of this session, you will be able to identify the different body measurements needed to make a 4-piece saree petticoat. Take measurements for a 4-piece saree petticoat. Make the required calculations for the 4-piece saree petticoat. Let's first familiarize with the tools and materials that you would need to take the body measurements for a saree petticoat. You will need measuring tape, pen, and notepad. We must make a measurement chart in the notepad of what we need to measure to make sure we get all the measurements correctly. For the saree petticoat, we will need measurements of full length of the saree petticoat and waist circumference. Having made the list of all the measurements that we need to take in the measurement chart, now let's start taking the body measurement for making the saree petticoat. We will first measure the total length of the saree petticoat. For measuring the total length of the saree petticoat, we need to measure down from the waist to the ankle. Here, the total length is 40 inches. Next, we will measure the waist circumference. For the waist circumference, take the measurement of the circumference around the waist. Here, the measurement of the waist circumference is 30 inches. As we have all the full measurements for the saree petticoat filled out in the chart, we need to make a few calculations. We are going to make a 4-piece saree petticoat which will consist of 4 fabric pieces, a waistband, and a cord. We will first determine the top and bottom lengths of each of these 4 fabric pieces. The measurement of the waist circumference is 30 inches. So, we will have to divide this measurement by 4. Thus, each piece will have a length of 30 divided by 4, which is 7.5 inches. We will add a seam allowance of 1.5 inches to this length. The total length comes to 9 inches. Thus, the top length of each of the parts of the 4-piece saree petticoat is 9 inches. The bottom length of each of these parts will be twice the top length, which comes to 18 inches. We will now determine the length and the width of the waistband. Considering that each of the 4 pieces has a top length of 9 inches, the total length of the waist circumference is 36 inches. Thus, the waistband should also have a length of 36 inches. Adding a seam allowance of ½ inch on either side will give us the total length of the waistband as 37 inches. The width of the waistband will be 4 inches. We will add a seam allowance of ½ inch on either side, which comes to 5 inches. Now, let's see how to calculate the length of the cord of the saree petticoat. The length of the cord of the saree petticoat will be 10 inches more than that of the waistband. Thus, adding 10 inches to 37 inches gives us a total length of 47 inches. For our convenience, we can round this figure to 50 inches. In this session, we have learnt how to take body measurements for the 4-piece saree petticoat. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key points. For the 4-piece saree petticoat, we will need measurements of total length of saree petticoat and waist circumference. We need to calculate the top and bottom lengths of each of the 4 pieces, length and width of the waistband, and length of the cord. With that, we've come to the end of the session.